I'm John Kadolf. I'm one of the Lost Blokes,
Yay!
and in this uh, incredibly, I don't even know what I was going to describe,
A thing.
or how I was going to describe it. It was just incredibly something, and I was talking about somewhere, and I'm someone who is a lost bloke, and I'm here. I'm here to unfuck the world.
I'm Dan Carlson, one quarter of the Lost Blokes. Today it's Sprite.
Invisible Sprite.
Gee, something about a green can on a green screen with a green. Hi, I'm Dave Nesbitt, and I am also a quarter of the Lost Blokes. One of our blokes will not be appearing this evening, or this afternoon, or whatever time it is. It's still morning, really. And currently, I am drinking.
just pick any time and mention it all.
I'm drinking a Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy, and also a vanilla bean infusion, which is one of my personal favorites.
Nice. I'm just drinking water.
Oh, yeah, and Kat is at a rehearsal.
Yeah, go Kat.
And I'm John Kadolf.
I thought you already did that. You said I'm John Kadolf and I'm drinking water.
Did I?
No, he said I'm just drinking water. So do it again.
Oh, okay. I thought that you had said I'm John Kadolf and I drink water.
He doesn't want me to introduce myself today.
Yay!
Yes.
Today we have a really fun movie called Slither, and I should probably just do the 2-minute synopsis.
Okay, so get the timer ready.
All right, Alexa, give me a 2-minute timer.
2-minute drill.
Alexa, give me a 2-minute timer.
2 minutes, starting now.
Slither is about a rock that falls to the earth, and contained within the rock is a creature of some sort, which is, the premise for millions of movies out there. But this one is unique in its own way. Michael Rooker plays this kind of sleazy, controlling, bad husband kind of guy, and he was at a shindig, and without his wife, ends up with this other girl that he has always wanted to have sex with, and they go out into the woods. They see this thing come flying down to the earth and hit the ground. They go and explore it. It's all slimy and nasty and icky, and the thing jumps out, gets into Michael Rooker, and then chaos ensues. He retains a little bit of his own being, but is by and large controlled by this creature. He impregnates the girl that he was with in the woods with these two big giant tentacle things that come out of his stomach area, and she starts growing. Then he goes about his business and tries to act normal, while the whole town is just kind of carrying on as normal. But there are weird things happening. They can't figure out what it is or who's causing it, but it's Rooker's character. And so over the first half to 2/3 of the movie, they're trying to figure out what's going on. And Rooker is just going around and creating chaos and slug baby pods people.
Yeah.
And they eventually find the globulous blob person in this barn, and she's like getting huger and huger and huger, and she's like, it hurts.
Your 2 minutes is up.
Okay, I didn't make it.
Nope. No, you explode.
Stop. Alexa, stop. Why can't you hear me, Alexa?
Yes, I can hear you.
Alexa, stop.
Alexa's just ignoring you.
She just wants to
because I
beat
said
it. She wants
one
to.
bad thing to her 2 years ago.
Next thing you know, I'm just saying.
Yep.
So yeah, this was written by James Gunn, who cut his teeth on Trauma, wrote Scooby Doo, the Dawn of the Dead remake, and then went on to
Big things with Marvel.
What?
the only good Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah. Well,
I've got a couple of his films that I like, I'll admit.
Oh,
yeah, there's a few. I by and large don't like Zack Snyder himself, but a few of his movies are pretty.
See, I actually don't have any problems with Zack Snyder himself. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I don't like his movies. I hate the slow motion. I hate the. I just don't like. I just don't like anything he makes except Dawn of the Dead.
Okay, I'll freely admit that I am probably going to be taken to movie prison for this, but I actually enjoyed his version of Watchmen. I think he did a good job of filming something that everybody said was pretty much unfilmable. And I think that his casting in it worked remarkably well.
Okay, I hear
Yeah.
good things about that. I haven't seen it, and the reason I
I just
haven't seen it is
I just
because I
didn't
saw
like the
300.
story.
Sorry, go
just-
ahead.
I didn't like the story in Watchmen. I thought that they could have done a much better storyline, and I thought that its gratuitousness was over the top.
That's
And
Sorry.
Grindhouse
Yeah,
or go home, baby.
see, I love over the top, but I didn't like it in this. It's like, okay,
I think though that there's a juxtaposition in Watchmen about how it shows the reality of what would happen if there were superheroes, and like the scene in the prison, which has some extraordinarily violent moments, is about sitting there and taking the veneer of 4-color printing off of it and turning it into a 35 millimeter world where bones break and things are done and all these things, because that's how the comics were. And also, I have to admit, a lot of this also comes down to maybe my favorite line ever written, not just in comic books, but maybe ever in literature, is I did it 35 minutes ago.
okay.
Changed everything. I jumped literally when I read it in the comics the first time, I jumped out of my chair and literally yelled. Because somebody had taken away that one big superhero trope and shot it right in the fucking face. For me, I think, and when they did that in the film and didn't change that, I was the happiest guy you could imagine.
That's kind of what Reanimator did when it finally showed the Barbara Crampton scene at the end. That was the thing that horror movies had been hinting at. That the thing that was satisfying about Reanimator was that it finally made explicit what was implicit for decades.
Yeah.
Slither is cool in a lot of ways because it's the Blob, it's Night of the Creeps, it's
From Beyond.
It's From Beyond. It's Dawn of the Dead.
It's kind of the color out of space.
It's Critters.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah, I mean, really, yeah. Slither is kind of an amalgam of so many different so many different genre type, well, not genre necessarily, but just horror family tropes that are brought into one film successfully. A lot of times if you combine the aspects of all of those things, it ends up being just weird and the flow isn't right. But I don't know, I think this is pretty well a perfect horror movie. I'm not saying the perfect or the best. I'm saying it's a perfect horror movie.
It pretty much works on every level that it should do.
It's a perfect example of this type of movie.
Yeah, it is perfectly cast. It is expertisely acted. It contains all of the gore and horror for the gore fans. It contains all of the tentacles and slimies for the mythos fans. It contains just
humor.
enough humor that for people who love horror comedy. It has just enough nipples to make it really fun.
Yay! Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and it has an aspect of love and romance that is not overpowering or sickly. It's an all around excellent horror movie. I mean, I've been enjoying this movie since it came out, and about once every couple of years I'll sit down and really enjoy it. And Dan brought up a point earlier that it is like an unsung sequel to Night of the Creeps. I get these movies mixed up a lot.
Yeah,
Night
I
of
can
the
see that.
and yeah, but they're both great movies. I'm gonna watch Night of the Creeps shortly after I'm done here, but you know, it reminds me slightly of Grabbers. If you've ever seen the movie Grabbers.
Yes.
I couldn't get through it.
Awesome movie set in Ireland, right?
Yep.
Okay.
An island off the coast of Ireland.
Yeah, and that movie is about this this really fun I almost said family bar, this fun neighborhood community bar that is the center of this whole movie, while mythos creatures are attacking the town, and how getting drunk is the only way to stay off their radar, basically.
Yep.
Love it. And
playing to all the Irish cliches, and you know,
Yeah.
God damn it, I'm in.
Yeah, you put that into an Irish town with a pub, and the movie's like you're basically immune.
I just want to say Michael Rooker is not only the scariest motherfucker on earth in Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, he's actually really funny in this movie.
Oh yeah, Michael Rooker is one of those guys who, because of like his first big success was Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, people tend to overlook the fact that he's fucking hysterical. He was amazing in Mallrats, which I still think, you know, like, you should get Michael Rooker in more comedies, as far as I'm concerned.
He's one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet too. At convention,
I've heard nothing but good things about him. Yeah,
he's such a gem. He is so willing to really, you know, engage the fans and you know, like, give total fan service. And I don't mean disingenuous fan service. I'm talking about, you know, he's willing to really indulge the fans' enjoyment of his portfolio. And you know, and he'll get out of his booth and come, you know, hang out with you if he really thinks you're cool, and you know, stuff like I just, everything I've ever seen of him at conventions and heard from him at conventions has been spectacular. So I'd love to meet him. You know, I've seen him, but I have not met him, and that kind of bites.
I'd like to point out that this movie has one of the funniest lines that I've heard all year. That's when the old man sees the monster, and he says, "That thing looks like something that fell off my dick during the war."
yep.
Yeah, there are some great one-liners in this movie.
I love the fact that basically everybody about in this film is kind of. We were talking about the difference. Somebody had pointed out that the idea of this, the way that James Gunn tends to write films and characters, is that it's less about people being self-aware and more about people being self-conscious. Like, self-aware, you know who you are, you know what's going on, etc. Self-conscious is wondering why it is that everybody's looking at you funny and having no idea why. And I think that a lot of the characters in the film and a lot of characters in James Gunn's stuff are living a sort of illusion of who they think they are, and everybody else is looking at them going, "We know who you are." Yeah, that totally has that feel to it.
I love that the monster retains the memories of all of its victims, and the victims are in there and they feel embarrassed that they have to do this. But the monsters make so, like, someone will say, "Don't look at me like that, you know, I'm hungry." They just devour like an opossum or something, you know. But
In possibly one of the best Dreamlands slash Lovecraftian mythos scenes ever was the flashback
Let's
flashback that the girl that's in the tub behind you has about all of his existences before, and taking over planets with strange creatures, doing the same thing there that he is doing here.
He's the Thing, kind of. Actually, he's very much like the Thing.
He is very much like the Thing, and that I would almost venture to say that this is one of the most mythos horror movies that I've ever seen when it comes to everything that is included in it. Not only does this get the Mythos seal of approval, but this also gets the prize for the #1 Mythos movie that I've seen to date when it comes to overall Mythos approval.
So do we have to design a Mythos trophy, and you got to like present it to the movie?
Oh yeah, I have one already. I just have to shine it up and present it to Night of the Creeps, James Gunn, for his fantastic film. I might even package it up. Yeah.
Slither. You said Night of the Creeps.
Oh, Slither. Sorry. And present it to Slither, to James Gunn. Maybe I'll even package it up and send it to him as the Lost Blokes. We'll have to call it the Mythy or something like that, and or the Howie. It's the Howie Award for the best.
Why would it be Howie?
Howie, Howard Phillips Lovecraft.
Oh yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, I like that.
Call it the Howie Award, the Lost Blokes Howie Award for the best mythos film ever, in my opinion. And since I am the mythos man, I am the final word in trophies.
That flashback is really cool. I mean, and the fact that she's having it, and she survives the process and is able to bring that knowledge back to the other people and help them.
Well, and not only does it, I mean, it has mythos creatures. It has a mythos setting. It has normal people realizing the world is going to be fucked. That one guy completely loses his shit, and basically decides that everyone needs to die. And
just like in the Thing.
Yeah, I mean, really, but this is a whole community of normal everyday people that has had to pretty well come together and defeat this ultimate evil. I mean, they went out hunting for it. I mean, this is absolutely positively every aspect plus of the mythos rating approval. So I mean, that's one of the reasons I chose Slither, is because it's one of my favorite mythos films. It has everything.
I've only seen it once before, and I liked it, but I didn't remember how fun it was until I watched it. It's just it's a blast.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is kind of like how a Call of Cthulhu scenario would play out at the table with people who are really fun role players.
And it has something like a happy ending.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah,
that's okay. I mean, things don't have to. Mythos movies do not necessarily have to end in total destruction. Occasionally, the people win and subvert the elder god. And Michael Rooker's monster was, in my opinion, an elder god.
Which elder god would you place him under? Maybe Dave has an idea too. He's well versed.
I'd go with definitely not the King in Yellow.
No.
I'm thinking more like a male version of the Goat with 1,000 Young.
Yeah, Shub Niggurath. That's who I was thinking as well, because again, breeds like wildfire and takes over, and that probably would be a good analysis of that. But seriously, folks, if you haven't seen this, you've got to check it out. It's absolutely one of the most fun, gory mythos movies you'll ever see, and it just fires on all pistons. And we're talking like a V12.
Dave, is it squishy enough or no?
Not quite enough. it doesn't really cause reality to alter particularly hard. I mean, reality changes for quite a few people in there, but I mean, it's strange, it's weird, it's everything else. I could say that it's squishy, but for me, squishy is more about altering reality rather than altering the people in it.
Or seeing more of their altered perception. Maybe,
Yeah.
at least
Something along those lines, because the reality in this is really fucking hard. I mean, the ending, I mean, usually somebody pointed out that usually in a film like this, the ending is that the lead alien dies and then everybody is free. No, the lead alien dies and then everybody else dies with it. Every single person it possessed. And I think that that's a much more realistic ending. If they'd gone for a full tilt fairy tale ending, then I might have gone a bit more squishy on this.
And I probably would not have given it the Howie.
The population sign definitely has to be adjusted by the end.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, just walking down that street and all those dead people,
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a stink around there.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough actual horror in this film to have it be one of those reckoning movies where shit went down and there is a lot of evidence to show it.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether or not the protagonists either survived or be.
As we know in reality, evidence does not equal people believing you.
No shit. Yeah. Oh my God. Let me tell you all about it.
Yep.
There's a lot of I love all the humor. I love the in jokes. Like one of the characters is named RJ McCready.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love Lloyd Kaufman makes a cameo. Like I was saying, this is like a trauma movie, but with a big budget. The best of trauma. There's horrible trauma, but there's a couple of trauma movies that are really great, and this kind of has the flavor of it.
Probably only two.
No. There's Toxic Avenger, the first one. There's Class of Nukem High, and then Return to Nukem High is actually quite fun. Romeo and Juliet has its moments. The rest of the trauma is not my cup of tea sometimes, but
yeah,
I hear Poultrygeist is pretty insane and out there. So,
yeah, it's kind of bonkers. Yeah, you just kind of that's another one of those ones where I sit down and advise, look, no, get really, really, really high.
But Dave, isn't that your recommendation for all viewing?
No, there's some films that no amount of weed will do anything good for.
Star Wars Holiday Special for you.
Yeah, Star Wars Holiday Special. I'm sorry, but the idea of, for example, say, let's watch Schindler's List and get really, really high. Bad, not good. Bad taste even by my standards.
Right, but 40-year-old virgin recommends you do get high when you watch Gandhi.
I'm good with that, actually.
I want to watch. I'm going to take my copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special
and shove it up your ass.
I love the descriptions of physical destruction that Dave plans on bringing down on me.
You just spent a lot of time thinking about it, I think.
Over the years, I can't blame him.
Nathan Fillion in this movie.
Nathan Fillion, yeah.
I think this was kind of his. I mean, it definitely got him out into the public eye a lot more. And also, I mean, Nathan Fillion's turned up in some of James Gunn's work, and also this is kind of like the quintessential Nathan Fillion character. Kind of clueless, yet somehow adjusting to it, but not totally, and trying to deal with it as best he could. Hey, tell her about the time that I saved you from the deer. Oh yeah, he saved me from a deer.
Well, my favorite dialogue is what are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do now? I don't know. Probably die and become one of these fucking things. Well, that's pretty bleak. He goes, and then he goes, "Well, that's the sort of day it's been."
True.
The cast is amazing. I mean, we have Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah.
We've got let's see,
Michael Rooker.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Michael Rooker.
I mean, Michael Rooker's a gimme in this. He's just
Rob Zombie's in it.
He is.
Yeah, he's a voiceover as a doctor, but
this is like Jenna Fisher from The Office.
Yeah, well, she was married to James Gunn for a little while. So
I didn't know that. That's interesting. But she she's fabulous in this movie as well.
It could never have been made by a major studio if he hadn't already made Scooby-Doo and Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, I think that
Like-
they basically kind of pimped it out to him at that, allowed him to do it because he had done that work previously.
Yeah.
And Universal kind of treated it like it was its redheaded stepchild, like something they had to release as a contractual obligation.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah. At the same time, though, they did also kind of come up. I mean, it did find its audience on video, thank God.
Did you get any Society vibes off of
Well,
this?
definitely with the body horror and stuff along those lines, and the complete surreality of the circumstances and situation.
Mhm.
And the thing that I like about it is that everything here is so hyper real in its own rather unique way
Mhm.
that it kind of verges into the surreal.
I definitely would say press play. I loved it. I enjoyed every minute of it. It's I didn't get around to, is it sleazy approved? I'm on the fence. There's a lot of
There's some
almost-
seriously sleazy shit going on.
there
here.
is some sleazy shit going on, but the general when I talk about sleazy approved, I'm kind of talking about a general aura of filthiness and discomfort and
Aspects of sleaze, but I agree with you that there's not enough to call it a sleazy film, in my opinion. But
it would
you're
have to it would have to go a little more over the edge to get sleazy. It would have to go a little more Stuart Gordon.
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
like for example, the slug wouldn't have tried to get into her mouth when she was in the tub.
Yeah. That would have totally been good sleazy.
and that's what I thought that was going to happen. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, and again, another little homage, but the whole bathtub scene had that moment of the first Nightmare on
Street?
Elm Street film.
Right, yeah, with the hand.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I dug it. I thought it was great. It's not quite sleazy approved, but it's almost there.
It's verging
Um,
on sleazy approved, borderline sleazy.
Borderline sleazy. It's very slimy and gross. It's funny enough that I think people who don't like slimy and gross might be able to sit through it because it's kind of got a Tremors vibe. I think the humor feels a little bit like a Tremors movie. If that makes
yeah,
any sense?
yeah. That makes a total amount of sense.
I would feel like if you were going to try to get somebody who doesn't like really gross movies into a gross movie that they might like, this would be the one. This is like a gateway gross movie.
Yeah.
It's not super because it's all slime. It's more slimy than gory.
Yeah.
I could see Ghostbusters going in this direction with an R rating. Let's put it that way.
I really, and the concept of all of them were the
Collective.
so yeah, they were the collective. They were all Grant.
But they also were all part of whoever they was taking. It was
Yeah.
it's like a hive mind. It takes over each person and it absorbs some of their knowledge. And I'm wondering, is the person still in there though, or is it like just a?
I think the person is still in there. But we're talking, board type of situation where there is an aspect, and if somehow they are wrenched from the collective, they would get back to their natural state potentially.
Because there's that moment where Grant has possessed another guy and he's actually telling her that he's in love with her and all that stuff. And it seems like he's actually being sincere.
Yeah.
It's just that he doesn't have any. It's like, yeah, I wish I didn't have to eat. This is just what I do.
This is my thing. We all have a thing.
Yeah, this is in my nature. This is who I am. This is what I do, and I have to survive.
Yeah. It's almost like if John Carpenter's The Thing were able to verbalize.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, press play on my side. John, I have a feeling I know.
Yep. Oh, I already gave it that earlier.
Yeah. But you might maybe want to expound on it a bit.
No, because I pretty well have put my heart on my sleeve for this movie.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, I'm definitely on a press play on this. This is a great kind of like intro horror. It balances out that element of horror and comedy. And the elements of the comedy are intrinsic to the horror, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's not like, as much as I love Mel Brooks, I think that Dracula Dead and Loving It was kind of a lame movie.
Well, that's a comedy. That's a comedy first and a horror movie secondarily.
Yeah, and this is basically the idea that, one of the things I like about a good horror comedy is that it shows off humor for what it is, and that's kind of a shock absorber for pain. And I think that's what makes this film work as well as it does, is that the humor is something that we all sit there and can basically have a sympathetic feel for. You can feel these characters.